welcome to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And today we're going to be telling you about the Belfry Theatre, which is actually located just on the edge of Lake Geneva. And we're going to let Sally Roth tell you about it because they have many, many different people who come, many famous type entertainers and many tribute bands. So thank you for joining us. This is Sally Roth. And your position at the Belfry is the head of the volunteers, right?
Yes, I'm the volunteer coordinator, and we have right now about 65 active volunteers. Wonderful, selfless people.
Well, this used to be the Johnny Cash Theater, but it's been completely renovated, completely redone. Beautiful theater now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was Eddie Cash. Eddie Cash.
You know, I do this every time. I do.
That's okay.
But you know
That's
what?
right.
When I make a mistake, then it's good to correct it. Then they'll always remember it.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, Eddie Cash was there for quite a while. But that was a very small theater at the time, if people remember going there. But this has been completely redone.
The theater size is the same. We seat 240, but it's been redone in from the get-go. We had porta potties outside, and everybody remembers that. Remember when you had the porta potties? Oh yeah, because I was always out at intermission and trying to encourage people to get through, and people would say to me, "How long is intermission?" I'd say, "Until the ladies get through the porta potties." You know, but we've got sound and absolutely state-of-the-art sound and light, and and audio. So it hasn't been added on to except for the restrooms and a little bit of the lobby.
But it's gorgeous.
It is. It's beautiful.
And the
Well
founders all got together. And how did it get started to become such a big place?
Well, it has been running for a long, long time. I mean, from the history is that it was a Mormon church built in 1888, and when the Mormons left Walworth County in 1932, then in 33, a group of ladies who included my mother-in-law, and a lot of friends were active in the Lake Geneva Drama Company, and they opened it up as a theater that would just in the summer, which would do maybe just one or two shows a year in the summer, and then it just got going really well, so it was popular, and that's when we brought in people that we had 3 men every summer that we would give scholarships to. It was very sexist, and they were hired based on their acting ability and also because they had other skills. For example, that's why Harrison Ford was hired, because he was a carpenter and he could work on the stage, and then he also appeared in plays, and that was in 1964. But before that we had, and I should show, because we have a picture of Harrison Ford here, and this shows him actually, I don't know if this, I doubt if he was actually working at the Belfry at the time, but anyway, it's kind of a cool picture. And then but the first one was in 1948 and 48 and 49 we had Paul Newman come, and he was attending college at the time, and so he just came for summer, and so Paul Newman was at the Belfry for 2 summers, and he met his wife there the second summer they worked, and after they finished the summer season, then the story goes is that they flipped a coin and whether they were going to go to New York or to, I'm sorry, no, that's not Paul Newman, that was Harrison Ford. But anyway, it was just, he became really popular after that. He became a really, really well-known serious actor. And then and I'm just telling you about the really well-known ones, but we've had so many dialect coaches. Lynn Funt and Joan Fontaine came through there. Just many people have been through for just a little while, but this is Gary Berghoff, and he's actually a local boy. He's from Delavan, Wisconsin, and he became involved in the Belfry because his mother was a New York City rockette, and and I don't know how she ended up in Delavan, but when she got married, and then so she kind of dragged him into the music industry, and she would do a lot of choreography and directing of plays. And I actually have an interesting story about him if anybody wants to hear it.
Yes, we do.
Okay. He once phoned me up because I had talked to him about a fundraiser that we're going to have, and he said, "Oh, I've got so many wonderful memories of the Belfry." He said theaters like that used to just dot the landscape of the whole country, and now they're not there. And he said, but I can tell you that I used to be performing on the stage. And of course, there's stage lights all in the front, the footlights. And when it became dusk, then the bats, which were in the Belfry, we do have a bell tower. That's why it's called the Belfry. Yeah. the bats would come swooping down to the lights. And he said, I'd be singing and moths would be flying in my mouth.
Oh, no.
And he just said, but the show must go on. He said, that's just what happened. At that time, it only seated 38 people. And because it was just a Mormon church, but he said it was really, really wonderful, the experiences they had there, and a really good way to learn the craft.
Well, what's the address now? Which town is it considered in?
It is in Delavan Township, but it really is a Williams Bay treasure. It is. And because that's the people that even though they were called the Lake Geneva Drama Company, it was the women from Williams Bay that started all of this and ran through it and kept it going for many, many years when it got really, really popular. My mother-in-law was part of that group, and my husband used to call that whole group of ladies as the Radical Republican Terrorist Society of Walworth County. But they were just wonderful women that really made contacts all around the lake. So at one time they would borrow from people on the lake, and they had a picture of Bill Wrigley that they borrowed, that they had up up above a mantelpiece, and there was supposed to be, and there was this line in a play where they would say, and that's the most evil guy in the world, and point to him. And it was just really funny because it just was really a local treasure. It's a hidden gem. It really is. It's a local treasure. So I would say it's really Williams Bay, but people say it's in Delavan, but it's not in Delavan. It's in Delavan Township, but it's really close to Lake Geneva.
Well, it's at Highway 50 and
67.
67. I couldn't think of the cross road.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it is very easy parking, although there is some parking that you can use also across the street by the hospital area.
It's right. We have a really nice handicapped parking area, and there's limited parking right on the. It would be on the east side of the theater itself before you get to the road, but Mercy parking lot is available for our use, and we've got it all mapped out, and our crossing guards are helping people cross the street and everything. Mm-hmm. So it works out really well.
Well, it's really nice because when you get in there, then you have water bottles for everybody, refrigerated.
Right.
There's wine available, and I'm not sure what else. It's
cheese and crackers.
Right.
And I think it's really one thing that I really enjoy is we have a lot of patrons that do come back time after time. But you can always tell the newbies when they walk in, because they just walk in, they've just got this, wow.
Wow.
This is, I mean, they really they're just amazed because we have all of the walls are exposed, wood, and we got rid of the drywall, and so you can tell that this building really was from 1888. Where the lobby area is.
Yeah, but it's beautiful inside.
It is. It's beautiful. People just love that, and then it's just fun to tell them a little bit about the history and all the
there's
things we've got
places
going
to
on.
sit. And it's complimentary cheese and crackers.
Complimentary cheese and crackers, right?
And then after the show, you pass out Dove bars to everybody.
Right.
On the
and
way
that's
out.
it, right. We also have chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin cookies at
intermission.
At
that's
intermission
right.
time. Yeah. But people, it's so funny because people have said to me, the music is wonderful, the shows are great, but I'm here for the Dove bars.
And you ask that if anybody has water left over in their bottles, that they pour it on the lawn or the flowers on the way out.
Right.
You got all these cute little things.
If they don't want to take it home, right,
Yeah.
then they can, because it just helps us, because we've got beautiful, beautiful flowers that are always coming from Jergs and Walworth, and they do a wonderful job we maintain them of planting in the first place. And our cookies come from Daniel's in Walworth, which everybody always asks us too, because they're really good.
Now you have a hotel type bed and breakfast next door as well.
Yes.
Sometimes with complimentary tea in the afternoon during the summer. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
It's been really successful. This year they opened up. It was called the Bistro outside, and people. It's really a lovely landscaped area. Deer come out all the time at dusk, and it's on the west side. And so they had a limited menu that people would go and have dinner there before the show, and then lots of times they would stay later too. And then that's the Bistro, and now the Bistro it's kind of moved inside now because it's just getting colder. But the Bistro a couple of nights a week is serving still this limited menu indoors, and they've got breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays from like 8 to 12. But Opus is the fine restaurant, and then they serve the fine, maybe like 5 to 7 course meals the rest of the time. They kind of alternate.
So let's talk about who I've seen there and who's upcoming. I've seen a Cher tribute, I've seen ABBA tribute, Chicago, some of the other things, Eagles, I believe, and just it's
I
unbelievable.
know you've been there a lot, which is really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And I'm not that much of a musical interest person as a lot of people are, and my friend Paul loves those shows. He should be here to ask you some questions.
I wish he was too, yeah.
So tell us who the upcoming people are.
Well, tonight we have a show that's just called Four Guys in Dinner Jackets, and they do a really compilation of it's doo-wop, but they throw in some Frankie Valli, which was outstanding.
I just saw him in person.
Did you?
Yes, and he was very robust and sang for 2 hours standing on the stage. And people,
Can he still do the falsetto?
You know what? And they're concerned about his age, and he did a fabulous job.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear. Yeah. So they actually last night when they were, because it was the first time I've seen the show last night, and they had a break because they made several costume changes.
Oh, really?
And because they had to have the red ones for Frankie Valli, and they had to have for others. But during a break, one of their pianist, a woman, and I apologize, I don't know what her name was, but she sang a song, and we're like, whoa! I mean, she was so good. It was just outstanding. It was really a really nice song. So we always get special treats like that too. So they're there tonight, and then next week, and we've got Styx coming. It's really a nice variety of different. We have anything from, like it was doo-wop to country to old-time rock and roll. We've had Buddy Holly tributes, which are really outstanding, and Broadway. So that's
Well, I know you accept donations too, because a lot is done with donations.
right. We do. When we were still in the really bare roots of the remodeling stage, then we would have jars up that say like for air conditioning. When we didn't have air conditioning, we had fans and cords and all over the place, for a refrigerator, for bathrooms.
Well, you got everything now.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Well, we want to do more though. We want to we'd like to have another. Right now, the bathrooms and people who have been there, and you can attest to this too, especially the women, because we have something like 12 cubicles for ladies, so they don't have to wait in line, never.
Right.
And the men have to sometimes. We're like, yes, a little bit of
And it's good for
justice.
disabled also, because you have those disabled, and there's even a side door if necessary
they
to
can
bring
enter from
people
the
in.
side, right.
And that's right near the restroom too.
It's very nice, yeah. And we've made it very accommodating for everybody.
So who else is coming? Do you have the list so we can tell people what the upcoming thing?
For October and November, we just had shows on Friday and Saturday. But starting in Christmas, we're going to have shows. We're going to have shows all the time. Chris Ruggiero is coming. He's a really wonderful young man. He's been there twice before. He's got an Italian background from New York, and he tells wonderful stories about his Italian upbringing at Christmas and sings Christmas songs that are outstanding. He's going to be there. We've got another one coming who does she has been with us before with doing an Olivia Newton-John show, and she's coming to do a Christmas, just a special Christmas. It's mostly Christmas themed. Frank D'Ambrosio, who was at one time, he's Sir Frank now, who was at one time, he was the longest running Phantom of the Opera in New York. And then when he stopped there, then he went to San Francisco and became Phantom of the Opera in San Francisco for many years. He comes back he's come back several years, and he does his Christmas in New York show, and that's fabulous. From when we had the Temptations there a couple of weeks ago, we had 17 people on the stage, and it was fabulous. Frank comes out with just Frank and his grand piano player, and you can hear a pin drop. It's just outstanding, and so the genre is just so varied and nice. We've got a country Christmas one that's going to be coming. I can look at my list.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I know people come from all over because when I've been there and you get to socialize with people when you're sitting and waiting at those tables and eating your complimentary appetizers, and people seem to come from all over.
Right. The three tenors are coming, and they're doing an a cappella Christmas, and they're outstanding. They also have they've got their credentials, their resume from Broadway is outstanding and actually international. And so people really like them. Everybody always loves the Buckinghams because we do have some original people. Yeah, we do have some. We have some original, and the Buckinghams are going to end the season with 2 shows, and they promised Christmas too. I think that's about it.
So
Yeah.
what days and times are the shows by season?
They always go, well, by season in the final show of the year is going to be January, the first week of January, and that's going to be the commemoration of it's the winter dance party, which commemorates when the three, when Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens were all killed in the airplane crash. So we usually have that show in February, but sometimes, because that's when it really happened. But sometimes the weather's a little iffy, so we're having it in January this year. And so we've got, we have January 9th, 10th, and 11th. We have 3 shows in January. Then right now, there's nothing planned for February and March. We usually have maybe in April and May, maybe 2 shows, Friday and Saturday. Not too much, but our schedule comes out for the year the 1st of March, so it's kind of like always a surprise to us too. We don't know exactly, but during the summer we have shows almost always starting in June. We'll have maybe 1 week where it's Friday and Saturday, and after that it's 4 nights a week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Shows start at 7 o'clock. Doors open at 6. Seating is at 6:30. And people, I usually get there about 20 to 6, and people are there. They want to come in. They love it. They just love to come in and sit and chat. And,
the other fabulous thing about it is if people buy tickets for something and something happens and they can't go, you change them to another date without any kind of penalty on it.
Yeah, there's no penalty at all for a refund policy, which is really nice, and people appreciate it because life happens, things happen, and if they can't go, then.
And the other thing that's great is if you're at the show, then you get to sign up for free streaming of the show after the show.
Right.
And the other thing that's great is that when you bring new people to the show and you give their names and say you brought them, then after you bring a certain amount of people, then you get free tickets.
That's all true.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so there's little perks all the time, and they even have, because they've got a really good following online, and every week they'll have drawings too for people who got, for this week, these people were drawn for free tickets this week. And that's always fun to see, because especially when you see names of people that are frequent flyers, and it's just fun to say, oh, cool, she got that,
So how did you get started in this?
Well, I was involved in I started teaching in Williams Bay in 1976, and then they were still producing their plays. And I took my students, I'm a Spanish teacher, and I took my students to see Don Quixote de la Mancha. And I just go, this is a cool place, and it's right here. And I was in Fontana from 7th grade on, but I never heard of it before. So but I was living in Williams Bay. I'm like, okay, this sounds really nice, and the kids just loved it. And so I heard about it then. And then when I met and married my husband, then I found out that his parents were really so vested in this, and there were 7 kids in the family, and every one of them except my husband either performed or wired the electricity when the new theater was built, or cleaned the Belfry house itself for the hotel, or sold tickets. They were all involved in it, and he and my father-in-law and his wife, Florence and Gordon Roth, both performed in many, many plays. And
really?
And if when you go into our lobby, because you've been there, then right before the wine bar is where the original stage was. Well, it was like the pulpit area, and so the theater ended right there. And there's a window on the south side of that area, and they didn't have a green room. They didn't have anything. They just kind of threw a curtain up, and the performers had to crawl in and out that window. to get on the stage. I know, it was hilarious because my father-in-law was a big guy. I don't know how he did it.
Oh, he did it?
I know he did it, yeah.
So then you volunteer.
Yes.
Or you're the head of the volunteers.
Yes.
So, and what is the benefit of volunteering there? They must get to see all the shows.
Right.
Right?
Right. I would say that's a wonderful benefit. It really is. But the people that we've met, that all of us have met, the volunteers themselves and the patrons, we call it a family. It's really the Belfry family because we're all just there for each other, and so the big benefit is to all these wonderful people that you see all the time.
And tell us
Really
about
is.
Michael. Michael's very...
He doesn't like to be mentioned. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Michael's
yeah.
going to be a secret, but he's very robust and he's very good at giving the information.
Right.
And let's talk about matching grants. Sometimes people have matching donations, I should say.
Usually we've been really gifted for a couple of times. It's been at least 2 years, maybe 3, where someone will just say, and it's anonymous. I don't know, but they'll just say, okay, we've been gifted with a 50,000 matching grant, something. If we raise this, then we'll double it. I think it was so that up to 25, and then he would double it so at 50. And we've met that goal every year when they've had it.
Oh, really?
Which is really right. It's really wonderful. People have been very supportive, and other. Grants, we have a really wonderful fundraiser always in August, which is not for the Belfry, but it's for Parkinson's research because the lady, Mary, who always greets everybody, she has Parkinson's. And we traditionally bring in, Jay Phillips is his name, who does a Neil Diamond tribute. And since Neil Diamond has Parkinson's, and because you're talking about matching grants and things, and there was a wonderful gentleman who actually was involved in the hospital where Mary gets her treatments, and he donated to the hospital, and everything. So all the donations that we have that week go directly to the hospital in Chicago. I don't remember what it is, for Parkinson's research. So that's really wonderful. So we do for the community too. It's not just for us, but we have lots of different fundraisers for different organizations. What's
your favorite show?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. People ask me that all the time because there's such a variety of music that it's just really hard to make a decision. I would have to say that as far as just, I mean, you cannot beat Frank D'Ambrosio for just who does the Phantom, who is but then the Temptations are awesome. Is everybody up and dancing? The Eagles music is just so wonderful. You just can't ever beat it. Everybody knows it.
That's the other thing. You invite people to get up and dance on the sides.
On the sides.
Along the aisles and in the back.
Right.
Which is unusual.
Well, we don't want to have people, we don't want a mosh pit. And we don't want to have people they'll say, we don't really want to look at somebody's rear end. We came here to listen to the music because they want to hear the music. They all know, and often the performers will invite the people to sing along because you know the songs.
And
so
you also allow pictures at certain times. There's lights that
Yes.
flash on in the ceiling that
Yes.
tell you when you can take videos or pictures.
Right.
Well, what have we forgotten
Oh gosh.
to tell people about the bats in the Belfry? Well, one of the things is tell them your website and phone number.
Well, the website is belfrymusictheatre.com. I don't know the phone
Because,
number.
well, there is another Belfry Theater somewhere. I know.
Oh, there's tons of them. So just don't type in Belfry.
So you have to put in, but when you put it in, do they say Williams Bay or Delavan?
I think it says Delavan Township. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think it has done both. I think when I've looked it up, 2 different ways.
But belfrymusictheatre.com will get
right.
you to the right. Will get you to our place.
And then someone will call you back if I know you're very good about that.
She's very good about that. She's very, very accommodating to anybody who gives her a call.
So is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to say?
Oh, we talked about the Dove bars. We talked about the cookies. We talked about the music. I would just encourage anyone. Something that I find really, really rewarding is that when, as I said before, when people come in and you can see that they're newbies, and really 99.9% of the time when they leave, they go, wow, this place, we didn't know it was here, and we want to come back. We want to come back. It's just, it's really a hidden treasure.
It's very impressive.
It is. It's a hidden treasure.
And the ticket prices are not bad either.
They're not when you consider the sound and the lights that we have, the free parking, proximity, locals. We have people from. We had somebody from South Chicago come last week for the first time. They go, "Wow, this place is really cool."
And what are the ticket prices now? I don't know if they've changed.
They're from the 60s to I think 78, depending upon what section you're in.
Mm-hmm. So. I'm sure they're very happy to have you.
Yeah, you can have memberships too, and I don't really know. I don't know that. I don't know the.
There's different levels.
There's different levels, but
right.
if you do become a member, then you're invited to a dinner at the end of the year, and you have first priority to make reservations and the discounts, and there's a lot of benefits to it, but there's different levels depending upon what you choose.
Well, we've got 3 minutes left, and I do want you to say what the website is again.
It's belfrymusictheatre.com. Belfrymusictheatre.com. We actually have two. Well, we've got the Belfry Music Foundation because that's all the that's the charity things that we do, and then the belfrymusictheatre.com is for the commercial. So the other aspects that they have.
And how many people did you say it holds now?
240.
240.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems a lot bigger than it was before.
It hasn't been expanded at all, except the addition of the bathrooms, and there's been a little bit in the back just for which we'd like to do a nicer green room. But the whole restroom area was expanded so the restrooms, and then there's some storage areas that are alongside that too.
Well, you also have a patio, which I have not been on, but people go out there during intermission.
Well, that's what we're trying to fundraise for now, is the patio, because it's kind of a cordoned off area, but our hope is to have tables out there and a nicely paved area that people can go out and sit at, because in the nice weather, they're out there all the time. They love it. Even just now with cold weather, we've had to really cut. We don't want to open the doors because it's like, we have to close the doors, guys, because it's too cold in here.
But it's been so nice for so long.
I know.
Yeah.
We were really blessed with good weather for a long time.
And what about the complimentary tea?
It's usually it's not scheduled for certain times. Like, we'll just get a bulletin that there is a complimentary tea this afternoon or something. Mm-hmm. But there is a tea in the summer almost every day. That there's just and it's fun. I've done it before.
Have you done it?
Oh, people
I've never done it.
They put on their hats and they come with the gloves and stuff. Some of them do. Wow. It's fun.
Well, thank you for coming here today and telling us all about the Belfry Theatre.
You're welcome.
I'm showing the Lake Geneva magazine, which has information about
It's got a great article about all the history.
And this is the Belfry Theatre,
mm-hmm.
so you can see it as you go by, right at Route 50 and 67.
Correct.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. I'm Karon Gibson. Thank you.